Now let's try to add code to destroy enemy aircrafts whenever a bullet hits with an enemy aircraft. So for that, we are going to the code tab again, and let's have a look at player bullet specific rules. So here we have a section for player bullets. So here what we are going to do is we are going to ask enemies inside this player bullet. So that means when we execute this ask player bullets, for each player bullets, what we are going to do is, so we are going to have another ask condition inside that, another ask statement inside this ask player bullets. So we are going to ask any enemies. So if there are any enemies in the radius, so that means even it's like closer, radius of 3. If you put radius of 1, it should be very accurate. So I'm going to make it a bit easier for the players. So if the enemy aircraft is within the radius of 3, so then just the enemy aircraft should die. So if you like have a large number, then it's much easier, but if you put 1, it should be very accurate. So I'm going to give 3, which is like much easier for players to play this game. So let's try this now. I'm going to press the setup button and play button, and I am trying to shoot. So if I focus on a player and if I press the mouse button, so it's going to die. Now let's see when it happens. So we can also create some kind of a explosion. To create an explosion, what we can do here is we can create a new procedure called to explode. So that will create an explosion, and I'm ending it here. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to hatch a new breed called explosions. So that means I should define this breed, this new breed here. Okay, I'm going to have a new breed called explosions, and I can say explosion as the singular form. So in my procedure, so I'm going to say to explode. Okay, I want to hatch some explosions, and how many? So I would like to hatch 25 explosions, like 25 small pieces, and I would like to set the shape of explosion to circle, and okay, maybe not circle, let's say something like default shape, and I'm going to set size of that to 2, and set the heading of these pieces to some random direction. I mean any number out of 360 degrees. So let's see what's going to happen now. Ask enemies in radius 3 to die, but before dying I would like to hatch a new explosion. That's why inside this explode I'm going to hatch explosions. So I said explode. Now let's see what's going to happen. So I'm going to shoot this aircraft. So it created something, but it's not very like interesting. It's just created something here. So one thing we can do here is we can change the color also. Set color to, let's see if we have something like orange. Let's try again. Orange, but again it's not really exploding. So how can we change this? So for that we are going to add a new set of rules called explosion rules. To explosion rules n, and these explosions rules should be executed within this play procedure. So what I'm going to do here is ask all the explosion pieces, ask explosions to move forward like this. So let's check now. Okay, again I made the mistake of having a bracket here. It's coming from Java coding practices, but in NetLogo we don't want to have any brackets in the beginning of procedures. Now let's move towards these aircrafts, and they are trying to chase me. Now I'm going to shoot this aircraft. See, now that explosion happened. But you can see the play pieces of explosions are now everywhere. Now we should avoid that. To avoid that, what we have to do is we can add another explosion rule. So in a similar way, like we did for bullets, so if that explosion is landing on a blue color patch, just destroy it. So let's try it again. Okay, this code should go inside ask explosions. So we just copy and paste the code from bullets, because even in bullets that checking for patch color was inside ask player bullets. So in a similar way here also it should go inside ask explosions. So now let's check again. Okay, now when I play the press the play button, so now these enemy aircrafts are approaching me, and I'm going to shoot one of their enemy aircrafts. Yeah, that explosion happened. So one problem here is whenever I'm shooting, these aircrafts are kind of freeze. That is not very good. So the reason here is whenever I press this mouse, it's generating so many bullets that is really freezing our code. So that's the issue here. So we should avoid that. Now let's see how can we implement a mechanism to avoid our player aircraft from shooting too many bullets when the mouse is down. So because if that's happening, what happens is so it will generate too many objects or too many agents in the environment, and that's going to block the movement of enemy aircrafts, because the priority will be given to generating too many agents. Oh, that's not good. So I'm going to have a way to generate only one bullet when the mouse left button is pressed, and if I want to shoot more bullets, I have to press the mouse button again and again. For to do that, so I'm going to code, and I have to keep track of a global variable called mouse force down. So in NetLogo, we can define global variables like this, and we don't have to specify any data type like Boolean or string, something like that. But in our case, this is going to be a Boolean. So when I'm setting up, so I'm going to set this Boolean variable to false. So that means at the beginning, I'm assuming mouse is not down. So then I'm going to add a new procedure inside play, but I have to first define that procedure. So I'm going to say check mouse button, and I'm going to add this procedure inside the play procedure. Every time every time this play procedure is called by the play button, so that will also check the mouse button specific rules. So we define a variable here called mouse force down, and we set it to false, and whenever this mouse is down, we are going to check some logic here. So here, whenever mouse is not down, I'm going to set that global variable called set mouse was down. So this one. So I'm going to set this variable called set mouse was down to false. And now this is fine. This is not going to do much change to our gameplay. So the most important thing is whenever mouse is down. So earlier we checked whenever mouse is not down. Now we are going to check whenever mouse is really down. What we have to do is we are going to check an additional condition. Okay, if the mouse is down, and see if this variable is also set to false. That means this is the first time mouse is going down, mouse click is happening, right? So that means it's not a situation where we continuously keep the mouse button down. So that means this will happen only one time. So here, when the mouse is down, it will check, okay, if this mouse was down before, no, that means this is the first click. And when that first click happens, so then set this variable to true. Now see what's going to happen. Now this check mouse button procedure is getting called in play procedure, and every time it's going through it, if mouse button is not down, it will set that to false. But if it is down, it will check, was it down or up before? If it is not down before, then it will set it to true. So that means next time when it comes to this procedure, it's not going inside this if condition. So as a result, this portion will get executed only one time. Even though we keep our mouse button pressed for a long time, this is going to execute only one time because of this flag. Because if it is false, now we set that to true. Now this is not true anymore. So it will not go inside this procedure. This will happen only when we release the mouse button. Then it will set that again to mouse button was false. Then it's possible to go inside this whenever mouse button is down again later. Okay, now this is good. So this will avoid creating too many bullets. Now then, inside the same if condition, we are going to do something like this. So now inside the same procedure, we are going to ask our players to shoot. So that means we can see, we can check this logic, hatch player bullets, and we can just cut and paste here, but we have to specify who is going to ask this. So then whenever mouse button is down, we should ask players to hatch player bullets like this. Yeah, I will explain it again. Whenever button is down, ask players to hatch player bullets. Just hatch one bullet and set size to 1, set shape to default, and set color to random. So we can just remove this because it's not required anymore under player rules. Now let's see what's going to happen. Let me check if it has matching brackets. So here you can see if it's having matching brackets. Okay, here I have to put an equal sign. So this is very good. Whenever we press the check button, if there are any issues in the code, it's going to show that. So here I miss an equal sign, so I added it. Now it's good. Now I press the setup and I press the play button. Now it's going to send bullets one by one. Now these aircrafts are coming. Now it's not going to block these aircraft, right? Also, I noticed that the explosion is too quick, so I can reduce the speed of the explosion. So let's see explosion rules. I think this is too fast, so I'm going to reduce the speed of the explosion, like the way the piece is moving forward. Okay, let's try again. Play button. Yeah, now it's like happening in slow motion.